Now, if you're a big fan of Disney or Pixar films, you might have been led to believe that love is the strongest emotion. At the end of the day, love trumps all. I, however, believe there is one emotion that is a little bit stronger. And that is the emotion that you feel when you lose a game on the ladder against someone. You then decide to tune into their stream and they start crap talking you. Your build, your playstyle, how easy it was to beat you. And the feeling that you have at that moment can be channeled and used in the game after. And that is exactly what we're going to be doing here today, because today we have a replay between Christianer and Lorimbo. Now, Lorimbo, for the people who do not know, is a phenomenal Italian Zerg who does not have a hotkey for lair. He always does 1 base, 2 base, 3 base all-ins, goes freaking bananas, loads of proxy hatches as well. He went for a triple proxy hatch the game before, and Christianer had some choice words about him in the Twitch chat afterwards. And of course, as a real gamer, you always see what other people have to say about you. Now, this triggered Lorimbo a little bit. He decided to go another time with a different build order, this time on 10,000 feet. And look what we have ahead of us. Christianer, a 6.2, 6.3k player. I think definitely top 5 in Europe when it comes to Protoss. He's someone that a lot of people are afraid of. Lorimbo, I am not sure if he has a ranking within Europe. He's definitely one of the most hated players in Europe, playstyle-wise. But I'm not sure if there's a lot of people that would say, oh, he's a top 5 Zerg player. You know, this is the type of guy you're afraid of when he's in your DreamHack group. However, when there's ladder points on the line, he is someone to watch out for. As Christianer here opens up with a fast gateway scout. So this is the safest type of play. A gateway scout sees a quick pull, sees an extractor as well. And we also see a proxy extractor coming out of Lorimbo here, who is playing under the Eric Fanboy pseudonym, nickname. We get a double gate cybernetics core. Now, the reason why this extractor gets constructed over here is because you can then mine gas, minerals, gas, minerals. So you can open up this wall. You cannot mine more minerals if you already have minerals in your mouth. You cannot do it. Your worker will want to return the minerals it already has in his mouth. However, you can mine a different resource. And Lorimbo here is abusing that fact and opening up this passageway. Beautiful little maneuver. And look at this. These are the mind games that we're working with here. Lorimbo realized, hey, there's probably going to be a zealot in that wall, so I'm just going to start attacking this area right now. Zealot's going to pop out over here. Is going to get surrounded, I can only imagine. 6, 8 links now coming in. I don't think this is a full wall, by the way. I think you need a probe there. This is not a full wall because it isn't surrounded by any building over here. So links are coming in. We have 2 more gateways on the way. Zealot now walking around. Adept is about to show up as well. Don't forget, behind this, we do have a hatchery in the natural as well as a hatchery at home. We have speed that is about to finish up. No queen whatsoever, as the links with the metabolic boost now running around in the main base. And we'll try to assassinate one of these adepts. Probably not quite going to succeed, as that's going to be the end of this little attack. At least temporarily. I don't know if this is, the end forever, or if it's just the end for now. It's hard to say. 4 gate off of 1 base against 16 drones into an extractor trick with a natural here. I think he's going to take a 3rd base. There's not going to be any pressure possibility here coming out of Christianer, because if he moves across the map with 2 adepts, what if there's 12 links out, right? You're just going to lose these 2 adepts. And if there's one thing you don't want right now is losing adepts. On top of that, these are full walls that we're looking at here. 2 walls that are fully walled. That is an issue. That is a very serious issue. 3rd hatchery on the way. So it's going to be pretty close in worker count. Tech is god-awful here for Christianer. He can't help it. That is just the way it is. He doesn't have a lot of gas. He went for 4 gates to not die. And now he's managed to not die. But he's also not very alive. He's somewhere in between right now. A vegetative state, perhaps. Okay, and Lorimbo, look at he's ready to pull the plug on him. Okay, he's entering the hospital. He has a fake badge. He's wearing the thing around the neck that the doctors have, but never use. I think they can use it to listen to stuff. A stethoscope, that's what it's called. It might be for heartbeats. Lorimbo, he's walking through the hospital with that stethoscope around his neck. He's checking every room. Where are you, Christianer? I'm gonna pull the plug, buddy. I'm gonna pull the... Oh, Christian's gonna go for a robotics facility into a Twilight Council. Now, whenever people build a robotics facility and a Twilight Council without a Stargate, this usually is a sign that the end is indeed near. Their mental faculties aren't working as well as they once did. Not opening up with a Stargate is a damn crime in this matchup, let me tell you. Even if you start with 4 gates first, I'd still always get a Stargate, just for the safety it grants you until anti-air units are out. Hydras, Mura, Corruptor, or some type of Queen Walk. It just is much, much safer. It's easier to take third bases as well. It allows you to scout much more simply. Although I guess if you have a sentry, hallucination is a decent enough tool, I would say. Gonna get a Roach Warren defensively here for Lorimbo as well. And a 4 adept move out. Glaives is gonna research. Okay, he's gonna try to run away. Triple Queens moving forward. This is not gonna do any damage whatsoever. Well, that's not true. He lost a Link, but a bunch of Links now moving out. Follow-up is going to be Roach. Single gas is what I'm seeing. This is going to be quite tough, honestly. It really is going to be quite tough. As the Links now moving across the map are going to try to go for a surround. I feel like this is ill-advised. I don't actually like this very much. He's trying to get this, like both of these Overlords onto the high ground, which would be great Neils, obviously, but I'm not sure if they can escape. And losing 2 Overlords at this stage of the game is not great. Worker count, however, 32 to 38. I still massively favor Lorimbo at this stage of the game. And let's not forget that Christianer actually had a pretty decent defense against this. Like, he didn't die. He felt close to dying. So it can be difficult for him to kind of judge where he is in the game. He's like, hey, I didn't actually die. What he did should have been an all-in. There was a proxy hatch, a proxy extractor. You know, he mined my minerals, and then he did a link flood of like 14 workers. I feel like I should be in a good spot. And one of the hardest things in StarCraft is, when the game is very chaotic, is to then make the correct read as to where you're at in the game. This shade is going to finish up. Okay, this looks terrible here for Lorimbo. This is, oh my god. Okay, this should just be over, I think. The Roach count on the high ground I don't think is quite high enough. We have a sentry here as well. Don't forget, it's actually a 2-base all-in though. I hadn't realized that. It's going to be 4 gate. Oh my. I thought there was going to be a third behind it. Look, there's loads of cash in the bank. There could be a third on the way. There could be a fourth on the way as well. As 2 sentries are being warped in. As this Prism now under some heavy fire. Roaches are being targeted rather than drones. So we're playing, I guess, the long con, but I'm not even sure if Christianer has the resources for the short con here. Lair gets built. Now, as I said, I don't actually think Lorimbo has a hotkey for the lair, so he had to click that with his mouse. Hate to see that, really. Absolutely surreal performance. Okay, and these 3 adepts are going to get picked up. Nice save. He's going to be real glad about that one. It feels so bad. This feels so bad because you now don't have a third base. It's actually going to be pretty tricky to take a third because there's a lot of roaches on the map. So you need to get units to defend your third. And even if you do get your third, you're still going to be downing workers by quite a bit. So I like this harassment. And I freaking love Lorimbo, but he's not, you know, he's not Cyril. Let's face it. Okay? He's not Finnish. He probably isn't very good at golf. I doubt the Finnish government ever gave Lorimbo a plot of land to build his house on, like they did with Cyril, okay? They're not the same person. So you give this position to Cyril, like Cyril is gonna be... He's not just gonna beat Christianer. Like he's gonna beat Christianer so bad that he'll log out and not dare putting in his login credentials for like the next 5 days. Like he'd blast him off the face of the earth. However, Lorimbo is a little bit worse, okay? This is not a man that is known for solid macro games. This is not a man that is known for macro games or being solid. Just like none of these. He's just, you know, he's a cheesy Zerg. So he's gonna go again. And if you can kind of absorb the damage that Lorimbo is gonna send your way, you could still be in a good spot. We're gonna go for Aspire. This is a terrible position. This is probably the easiest position to scout. All the way up here. Like this is a prism spot as well, and a spot where one of the hallucinations would go. Double Adepts now trying to shade by. Should cancel that. I think there's simply too many roaches around. Dark Shrine gets constructed. I always feel like Dark Shrine is fake safety. Like you build a Dark Shrine, it's like, oh, I could warp in like 2 or 3 DTs, and maybe like if they forget about an Overseer, I can defend with it. However, the moment a Zerg player sees 2 DTs slashing at the roaches, there's this one trick that DTs hate. And it is running away. It reminds me a bit of the scene from The Pick of Destiny, the Tenacious D movie, where they get threatened by a guy. And I think he has like one of these walkers, and he doesn't have a gun, he just has a knife. And he says, I'm gonna cut your balls off or something like that. That's what it always feels like. If you're a DT and you're chasing like a Marine army, or like a Zergling army, or a Roach army with speed for all that matter. It's like you're just screaming there with a knife, like I'm gonna cut your balls off. And they just run away. It's like, all right, what are you gonna do, buddy? Like by the time the DT reaches it, like 5 new overseers have been popped already. So I always feel like Dark Templar are not a great call. It also tends to kind of ruin... ooh, this is interesting. This could deal some damage, by the way. I don't think we have any overseers here. So rather than using them defensively, is using them aggressively, which is not what I had expected. Yeah, no overseers. It's going to be 5 DTs. I mean, this game is super over, in my opinion. I think at this point, Christiana is just in a better spot. Like, you're going to get like 10 worker kills. You know you're fighting against Muta Roach, I guess. I don't even quite see how the hell the Rimbo is going to win here. He's down, what, 20 workers? He's just building drones, by the way, which is a cool call. And I guess he's planning on going for mass Muta as his kind of only solution. But he lost his forward base. He's lost how many? Like 30 workers? 43 workers so far already this game. He's now going to go across the map, but Stalkers have already been produced. The Muta count isn't high enough to really do anything crazy. Like, what even is the response here? Like, what are you supposed to do as Lorimbo? He's going to just keep adding in more and more Mutas, I guess. But he's 3 base versus 3 base, and he's down 20 workers. It's not what we generally consider as a great setup, okay? Okay, this DT is going to go down. That's 1. And he needs to find some angles, but right now I'm not seeing any angles here whatsoever. All right, this is not good. This is not good. And let me tell you, the angles, they need to be good. The angles here, they need to be fantastic. Lorimbo needs to channel his inner Instagram influencer, all right? That is what he needs to do. He's gonna need to find the right angles to enter here and to get some worker kills. Like, he's adding in more drones. Christiana's gonna go for double Stargate. That is such an interesting play, honestly. So he's basically saying, hey, I wanna... For now, my band-aid solution is going to be Blink Stalkers. It's a good band-aid, a strong band-aid. Like, it can even be a permanent solution. It is the type of band-aid that you can kill your opponent with. One of the many well-known use cases of band-aids. But here he says, no, I'm just going to actually use it as a band-aid. Stop the bleeding, make sure I don't lose any probes. And then I'm going to mass Stargate units, mass Phoenix. The thing with Phoenix, though, is that... What the hell? Why is he building 4 DTs? That is deranged behavior, no? He's gonna arc hunt. I don't want that. So the problem here with Phoenix is that you don't really have fleet beacon cache, I think, at the moment. And Phoenixes are very good, but you also need to be quite quick when you use them. You need to respond to the Muta flock. And these Mutas can kill a lot of them. Look at this. Oh, this is going to be a bad fight for the Stalkers right now. There's 2 Stalkers already going down. 3 Stalkers going down. 5 Stalkers going down. All Stalkers going down. Oi, oi, oi. Lorimbo is driving the train. There's only 1 passenger and it's heading to Pound Town. And that passenger is Christiana right now. Okay, Phoenixes are going to show up. A couple of probes also falling, which is a big deal because that is the great equalizer. Probes falling. And now all of a sudden you're stuck building Phoenixes, you don't have band-aids anymore, and you're bleeding. I really think these 2 Archons that he morphed in were completely pointless. Some of the most pointless Warpins I've seen in my life. So expensive. Stopping his Phoenix production, stopping his fleet beacon potential there. I mean, it's still going to be 5 Phoenix against 19 Mutas. So you can definitely make some plays here as the Phoenix guy. If you control very well, you're still outranging these Mutas. The problem is, 1 moment of inattention and you lose 3-4 Phoenixes, the game just ends. That's usually not what you want. Okay, Lorimbo's trying to set up a defense. Ooh. I feel like this attack could have worked. But instead, Christiana's going to return back home. He's going to add 4 Nexus production. Is on 8 gases. I really think that if this is what he wants to do, he needs to try and win some time. At this point, I actually think sending a DT across the map would be a cool play. And not just because I can see that there's no overseers. I actually think it would be a cool play to check gas count over here on the fort, mineral count on the fort as well. I mean, Phoenix is going across the map is legitimately deranged behavior. Like, this is super not allowed. Like, if you don't have the band-aid solution of the Stalkers defensively anymore, then... Like, this is just gonna lose you an absolute crap ton of workers. Lorimbo here is playing safe because he respects his opponent too much. He could have killed 20 extra probes here, and Christianer's only course of action would have been to run across the map and try to win in that moment. And if there's one thing you hate to do with a Stalker Immortal army, it's winning in the moment. These Phoenixes are gonna chase, don't forget, there's no +1 actually on these Phoenixes. +2 is about halfway done as well. There's a single Archon, and we have, what, 9, 10 Stalkers? 9 Stalkers. 9 Stalkers. You have 13 Banelings on the way. So if you snipe the Archon here, and the Banelings get the connections, I'm not saying it's game over, but I am saying the game is going to become very, very tough. Oh, here we go. We're going to get a dive onto the Archon, I think. Oh, not the greatest control to start things off with. Don't forget, if a lot of Mutas end up going down, one thing that could end up happening here is that the Phoenixes show back up. But for whatever reason, the Phoenixes are just not in this battle. A surprising play here by Christianer. I mean, it's obviously a mistake. It's not just surprising, it's bad as well. It's like if your strategy in a tennis match is to poop yourself in the second set. If you do that very consistently, people will come to expect it. And even if it is a surprise, it's not a very good strategy. I don't think so, at least. I'm not a tennis expert. If there's any tennis players in my YouTube comments and you do believe that pooping yourself in the second set is viable, and you've seen it used at the highest level of play, please let me know. And I'll send out I'll rectify the information, of course. We are a respected news outlet here on the Harstem channel. And spreading fake information is not something that I generally approve of. This Phoenix count, by the way, is starting to scare me a bit. 10 Phoenixes against 23 Mutas. Make that 22 Mutas against 9 Phoenix. The worker count for Lorimbo isn't high enough. And on top of that, his miscellaneous unit count also freaking sucks. Like, if there were 12 roaches here, this game would be over. Because the Archons would just get overrun by roaches. However, that's not the case. And if these Phoenixes get to kill 5, 6, 7, 12 drones, I think the game actually ends. I love the Hydra transition, but in order to make that successfully, you're going to need like 12 Hydras or so, and I just don't think you're going to get that. Not having +1 on these Phoenixes is absolutely criminal, by the way. I just want to kind of, plant the flag where everyone can see that. This is a criminal offense in 48 states, at least. Okay, getting more than 8 Phoenixes without +1. Only in Wyoming can you get away with that. And there, it's theoretically still illegal. They just don't have the, the manpower in their police force to actually arrest people for this type of crime. They go for higher value crimes. I don't know what type of crime there would be in Wyoming. Probably lots of intercourse with wildlife, I would say. I don't know. I've never met anyone from Wyoming. If you have met anyone from Wyoming before and you know about their treatment of the general wildlife there, be sure to let me know in the comments down below. I am curious of different cultures. All right, Phoenixes are flying away, and they're also dying. It's not very good. Generally, you want to try to keep these alive against high muta counts. Yeah, this was pretty much his only hope here, and his only hope has just disappeared. That must be what Darth Vader must have felt like when Luke Skywalker flew into the Death Star and made it explode by using the Force. God, he must have felt like a loser at that moment. Then again, I don't know. I've never met Darth Vader. Sorry. Alright. Hydra count here is good enough. There's still a lot of Archons. And this, by the way, shows that massing Mutas would have been the wrong play. And that not massing Mutas and going for a transition was the right play. Not just to deal with the Phoenixes, which, the Hydras do give some oomph in your army against Phoenixes, but also you can add some Roaches right now. you have like the ground force. We have the +1 attack as well. And that is going to be great. Oh, look at that. Some nice micro here. We call this Archon juggling. Christianer drops the balls and drops the GG. And just like that, Lorimbo wins the game. And what does Lorimbo do after winning a game like this? Well, actually the exact same thing he would have done had he lost the game. And that's go into the Twitch chat and see what your opponent wrote about you. And then after seeing what he wrote about him, don't queue another time, because there's no way you win twice in a row with a build like this. All right, it's going to be it for me today. Thanks for watching. Subscribe.